and it was because they were playing downhill and they were being physical and they're running the ball. And you saw in the first half they're playing behind the sticks. They it's like they went back because they saw all the last 2 weeks in scout team Milroe probably making the throws, making the plays, and like, oh, this would translate over. And they got caught up again and thinking, you know what? All you have is 4 plays, Alabama. Don't try to outthink the room. Make it a middle drill, man. Run the running backs, run the quarterback, throw it when you have to, but we're going to run the ball. And Alabama got away from. They had a lead and got away from doing that, and that allowed Michigan to come back. And that's what they did. They ran the ball. Their best play was running back in the flats, Phil. I mean, they're just dumping simple plays, simple concepts, letting them react and letting them play. I thought Alabama kind of beat themselves a little bit. Like they just didn't do what they should have done.
Well, it was something watching Alabama get dominated as far as the pass rush was
concerned. That front seven of Michigan's the best in the country.
There's no opportunity for Alabama to do what they can do in the passing game, which is the deep ball, when there's just no time for Milroe to sit in the pocket or try to get out of the pocket. It would just collapse right in on them. It's one thing I thought Michigan did so well was that they kind of created a pocket. I mean, he's going to get out of that every once in a while just because of how quick and fast he is. But it was tough for him to create on the fly and throw on the run. Man, that was as dominant of a performance as I've seen from a defensive line as far as getting after the quarterback in a long time. But these are the 2 best teams in college football now, right? I mean, you have to at least admit this. Does Georgia have any say that maybe we belonged in it? And those are the conversations that everybody had over the last 3-4 weeks, and none of it really matters, because if it's all about the committee getting the right teams in against each other, I think they did that. Maybe if Georgia stayed number 1, you would have had the same kind of game. I don't know if I saw much of a separation at all between these 4 teams. And I don't think Georgia would have made that much of a difference as far as a separation in talent. Florida State, now, that's a different situation.
They didn't want to be there.
They didn't want to be. No, of course they didn't want to be in the Orange Bowl.
Undefeated. They were done. They didn't even show up. Can't blame them. I mean, it is another opportunity to play, but they had all their guys that got them there opted out. I mean, that's what college football is now.
Well, it's I don't think I can remember seeing playoff games that were that good. As we've had this playoff now for 10 years and going into a brand new era and going into 12, hopefully we'll get semifinal games that are this good. And it feels maybe a bit of a surprise if you ever see a product that is that entertaining and goes down to the very end and then leaves you wondering now, if Dylan Johnson is available to play, I doubt he's the same kind of running back that he has been until the injury. And I know he's been playing with an injury, but it looked like he had a lot of trouble even making it off the field. Does it seem to you now, Michigan? Look, there's this whole respect game, and Washington can't play physical because they're a West Coast team. I think that idea has been blown out the water, and probably should have been. Once they beat Oregon twice, but doesn't Michigan look like a favorite in this game?
Here's here's how to go down. You know what Michigan doesn't do? They don't forget who they are as an identity and as a team. You like when they played Penn State and they ran the ball 32 straight times in the second half. That's what Michigan did to Bama, and that's why you kept thinking, you're like, who is the offensive coordinator of Alabama right now? How do you not understand this is what your team does well, and this is what your team cannot do? Why do you keep asking them to do something that they're not able to do? Get physical, make it simple, run the rock, throw the ball in the flats, get rid of the ball, let your quarterback be an athlete, and they're trying to do a drop back.
Yeah, we've already had 3 texts come in about Brian and Ozark. 3 of them have already come in. I guess we're all waiting on whether or not he makes the phone call, and could be a gracious.
They'll finish what,
loser.
6th in the country? That's pretty good, man. That they'll finish. What do you think they finish? 4th, maybe 5th? Because Georgia's going to finish 3rd.
Good question.
You got to think it's going to go Michigan, and I got Michigan, Washington, Georgia as your 1, 2, 3. So it's just who do you have as 4?
That's a good question. Good question. And Braley says she's fine with no SEC team in the championship. I am too. I don't see what would be why we would have to have any sort of conference pride over who's in the championship game, and it would end up being one of the same teams that's in it year after year after year after year. I like the idea of something fresh and new, and hey, this will only be the first of 2 times you get to see Michigan and Washington against each other on the football field, because now that they're going to be Big Ten foes, they're actually scheduled in the regular season against each other this next season. Braley is a man, too. Sorry, I was making an assumption. Thanks for the text, Braley, but I obviously didn't realize that. All right, halftime on this Tuesday as we get 2024 underway. We got Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio, 1:15. Alyssa Orange, Pig Trail Nation, 12:15. And on the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, coming up in just a moment. Of course, we will touch on the start of SEC Conference play, the NFL playoff picture going into the final game, and we get still lots of things to teach the C Unit on halftime.
Deep three on the way, and it's good. Outlet to Devo. It is over. Down goes Auburn. The #1 team in the country is defeated, and they are rushing the court at Bud Walton Arena. They are rushing the floor at Bud Walton Arena. Don't dance on that hog. Hey, don't do that. No.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
The Hangout, Fort Smith's newest fitness center. Over 8,000 square feet of 24-hour fitness. Indoor pickleball, tennis, and racquetball. Looking for help with your fitness needs? The Hangout has group and individual fitness training, with more options coming soon. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thehangoutfs.com. Pickleball leagues forming now. Be a part of something different, something better that Fort Smith has needed. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Would you like to cut your utility bills without cutting comfort? Stay cool and save while enjoying the reliability and efficiency of a new Luxair HVAC system. Have your contractor call J&B Supply to hook you up with a Luxair system perfectly suited for your home. Luxair provides optimal comfort, energy savings, and lasting performance. J&B Supply, where the professionals go for all their HVAC, plumbing, and electrical needs since 1968. J&B Supply, with locations in Fort Smith, Springdale, and Bentonville.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
Picture this, a cold winter's night and suddenly no heat. That's exactly what happened to us. But when we called Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric, they were right there. Their pros didn't just fix our heating. They brought back our home's warmth and comfort in no time. Even when our water heater started leaking, Pascal was the first name we thought of. Quick, professional, and so understanding. With Pascal's flexible payment options, we didn't have to worry about a big expense all at once. Now our home is comfortable and so is our budget. Schedule now at gopascal.com.
Ruskin and Zach live at the Rogers Convention Center Friday, January 5th for the Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo. They'll be showcasing the best in boating and outdoor adventures. Check out a vast array of boats from cruisers, pontoons, power boats, and more. Ruskin and Zach, Friday, January 5th at the Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo. Rogers Convention Center, where your next adventure begins. Don't miss it.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, sorry!
The face of evil's on the news tonight. We see the darkness over light. But have we ever really lived in better times? Hey, strange. They say we're coming to the end of the line. But is there still a chance to change your mind? Or have all the colors turned to black and white?
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
You know, it just hit me during the break there that I'm never able to make it to midnight for New Year's, but I had no trouble staying up until midnight for football last night. Funny how that kind of works out. We head to the McClarty Daniel hotline. Chuck Barrett, voice of the Razorbacks, is with us here for his first work on the new year. Chuck, how was your New Year's and how are you today?
Well, the new year was great and doing well today. Ready to get back at it.
Yeah, feeling good.
Well,
after
not
watching...
quite ready to get back at it, but, close.
Yeah, you get a few more days and at least another couple until you get to worry about, dealing with Ty and Tommy in the morning. But watching football last night, those were I love the way that Matt put it, the theater of college football in our first segment. That's kind of what it felt like yesterday. It's like you were watching a movie and both games just had great endings.
Well, they were both great games. And if you love college football, you love the day, and that day's why we love college football. Michigan and Alabama was, a competitive overtime game. I mean, who could ask for more? The arguably two most storied programs in college football. And then, you knew Texas and Washington would be a different type game. We don't see Washington as much here. And we are, and I'll admit it, we're biased toward our league. And but man, this Michael Penix Jr., I'm not sure I've seen a guy like him before. He's the real deal, and they've got some weapons. I know Michigan's a different team, and they're great defensively. But I'll tell you, Washington is fun to watch.
Yeah, you say storied franchises. That Alabama-Michigan matchup, I think that was the sixth matchup they've had in their storied franchise, and that Michael Penix Jr. kid, we were talking the first segment, Chuck. What in the last, what have they been doing this? 18 years, 22 years for this playoff four. I can't remember that I've seen a quarterback that just took over, almost like you would see a point guard or shooting guard in a basketball game. It didn't matter what the coaches called. He was reading to the right side of the field, and he was making the throws where only his guys could catch it. It was impressive to watch that third quarter stretch he had. What he hit, like 12 in a row? It was wild.
He looked like a pro out there. And he looked like a pro playing with amateurs. And I'm not saying that –
6-year guy, too. That might be said something for that.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. He's a grown man. And he's been through it many, many times now. But he's just really impressive, the way he carries himself. Some guys try to make the impossible throw, and they can't make it. He tries to make the impossible throw and makes it look routine. Now, look, he's that one receiver. he can contort his body now. That little guy starts with an O, the OZ guy. He's really, they really are some good players, and they can do a lot of things. And I wished, honestly, I found myself last night thinking, I wished I'd watch these guys more during the regular season because they're really entertaining.
I do think, Phil, that they have three guys, 1, 2, and 11 on that Washington receiving crew. They're going to play on Sundays.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then 37, he looked like I don't know if he's big enough to be an H-back or whatever they're trying to do at that level, but he has three guys that are going to play at the next level.
I guess the part of the question here is if they were able to deal with Texas at the line of scrimmage, and kind of blunt that Texas pass rush, can you do the same thing to Michigan? Because Alabama, they just couldn't block him, Chuck. It's amazing. As soon as Milroe steps back, he's got guys in his face, and it's like Matt had said in the last segment too. You know, Alabama kind of forgot who they are at a point, but I feel like Michigan almost made them forget. Do you think Michigan's got an edge in that line of scrimmage like they did in the Rose Bowl?
Well, first off, I thought some of the issues that plagued Alabama early in the season reared their head. That freshman at the tackle spot early in the ball game, you could tell that was going to be a soft spot, and that Washington was going to be able to exploit that. Alabama kind of shored a lot of that up to an extent as we moved through the year, but Washington really exploited that. Now, here's the thing you got to remember. I mean, Washington's offensive line, they won the Joe Moore Award for outstanding offensive line in America. Again, we don't watch these guys every week. And so I tend to think they'll be okay against Michigan. I'm not saying they're going to hang 37 on them, but I think they'll be able to block them better than Alabama did.
Oh, no question, because Texas had 2 defensive tackles. One of them was the best T tackle in the country, and one of them was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And they were they kind of got to Michael a couple of times, but he was making a miss. I think it'd be big to see if number 7 plays for Washington. And to your point, Chuck, no excuses for Alabama to have. I counted at least 5 times that they were doing the quarterback center exchange in the gun, and that's a negative play. You can't have that in that game and expect to win.
You go back to our game with them, and some of the issues that they had last night with the snap and with the confusion on the offensive line. They were kind of dealing with that up until toward the end of October, and then they began to put it together. But I saw the same Alabama team last night that we'd seen early on. Now, look, the pressure that Michigan brings from their defensive front, that leads to bad snaps. That's what leads to things like that is the pressure that comes from having to block guys like that. So I give Michigan a hand in that. But I was surprised, frankly, at the way some of those things came back to haunt Alabama. I thought they'd corrected a lot of that. Maybe they covered up for it with their defense or with turnovers. I don't know. But, they didn't have it going last night.
Do you watch any of these games and think how would Georgia do against them? I'm not worried about how Florida State would have done against them.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think Georgia beats them all. I mean, I do. I just I'll go back to what I said. When Georgia got voted out, if a win over Georgia was so good that you could vault Bama from 8 to 4, how could you drop Georgia from 1 to 6? And nobody's beaten them in the last 3 years, 4 years, other than Alabama. So maybe they got a little block against Alabama. Watching Alabama last night, and it still baffles me that they could beat Georgia in that championship game, but they did. So you got to give them credit.
We'll hit on the basketball game against Wilmington, and coming up this weekend against Auburn later on here, as we got Chuck for 2 segments. We can take calls in the next segment too in the Clardy Daniel hotline. So line them up at 877-377-6963. But Chuck, the Warp Zone closes today. So anybody that wants to leave their program, today's the last day to do it in college football. Any surprise about Jaheim Thomas entering his name into the Warp Zone? Because that, to me, kind of can't. I mean, it's last moment, so that's why it comes out of left field.
Well, yeah, I think we all kind of kidded ourselves into believing that maybe it was all over. We knew KJ was still out there, and you look around the country. I mean, there are still guys that are making some last-minute announcements. To answer your question, not as surprised as some. Because, if you really watch it closely, he lost his starting job in November. By the end of the season, he was not starting. And my guess would be that, he was told that, hey, you may start next year, but you're going to have to go win the job. And there's other guys coming in too. And they're going to be given every opportunity to win the job as well. So No, I was not terribly surprised, given the way the season sort of ended for him. You know, when the team was no longer, you know, when bowl eligibility went out the window, I'll just put it that way, and when you could feel it slipping away, maybe a week or two before it actually happened, I guess maybe after the Mississippi State game, you know, there were some guys that, you know, maybe at that point, I'll just say, you know, they knew the season was over, and they knew the warp zone, as you guys call it, was out there, and maybe they started thinking about that. Maybe that was reflected in their play. I'm not saying that happened here, but I'm saying it's happened. But that's a long answer to say no, I was not terribly surprised by it.
And KJ committing to UCF and Gus, I mean, it's a system fit. It's another Power 5 league. I wonder if there were how many other options there were, but it does feel like a good fit for the last season of KJ's career, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you know that came up the first or second day after he announced that he was going into the portal, and I always felt like that made sense because he's a one-year guy. NIL is at play. He had a pretty good deal at Arkansas. I've never thought he would go to an SEC school because I don't know that kind of NIL money is what you commit for 1 year. Maybe it is. I don't know. You know, I'm sure that for 1 year you can empty the pot down there in Orlando, so to speak, or find somebody to, you know, prop him up. And by that I mean not prop him up, but give him the money that he was making at Arkansas or close to it. He goes down there and lives in the sunshine for a year and probably enjoys himself a lot. And I do think from a football perspective it's going to be a really good fit. And I'll tell you, you know, I watched, and Matt, you did too, and you know better than anybody on how this works, but I watched a lot of those big SEC linebackers and safeties cower when that guy got downhill to that second level. And I can only imagine what it's going to be against some of these, you know, 205-pound linebackers and 190-pound safeties that a lot of times you face in the Big 12. I just think he's going to truck a lot of guys next year.
I think absolutely. I think he's going to have 3,000 yards passing. It'll be one of those 700 yards rushing, account for over 30 touchdowns. I think
see that.
I think he's going to put on an absolute show.
And Gus will turn him loose and let him. I mean, he's and also too, he goes down there knowing he's not going to. I mean, he's going to be the guy. They're bringing him in to be the starter. They're not saying you're going to have to compete. They're saying we're bringing you in to be the man.
There's some guys on the BYU defense that saw that. Were like, wait a minute, we get to see this guy a third year?
I thought about that. Yeah, I'll bet they remember.
All right, we can line up those calls for the voice of the Razorbacks, Chuck Barrett, on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Call us, 877-377-6963. Halftime will be right back.
Started as a dream, and here you are. It's moving day. But wait, isn't moving supposed to be stressful? Oh, that's right. You bought your home using Weichert Realtors. Your Weichert agent guided you. Video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got coffee.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
If you hope heaven has a bar, it's guaranteed that you'll be bounced and barred. Heaven is reserved for those who have put their hope in God's Word. Jesus said you must be born again by trusting in Him, or you won't see the kingdom of heaven. God set the bar so high, that's why Jesus had to die. If you refuse God's last call, the Holy Spirit will serve you a fireball. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business, on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
They turn it on. Well, they've already been through that stretch now. And it came a little earlier this year than conference play. So you don't have the luxury of starting out, 1-3 or 2-4 and then, bouncing back from that. Maybe you can, but, I thought the other night from an offensive standpoint, there was the best flow that they've had this year, with the exception of maybe the Duke game. I think as every day wears on, we should have seen last year with our own team, and we should have seen this year with Purdue, that exhibition games maybe don't matter as much as we might think. But I thought their flow offensively was really good Saturday night, and they're going to have to continue to play that way, and they're going to have to play better defensively. They gave up a lot of points. Now, the game kind of dictated that. They still won by 16. But Auburn's good. I mean, every game, I don't think this team right now, when you look at them, I think they're a threat to beat anybody at Bud Walton Arena. In fact, I'd take my chances with them in every game at Bud Walton Arena. But they're going to have to find a way to win some road games. That may end up being the difference as to whether or not they make it or not when we get to March.
Let's take a couple of phone calls. Juwan in Fayetteville is with us here on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Happy New Year, Juwan. How you doing?
Happy New Year. How y'all doing? I'm doing well myself.
Good, Juwan.
Those playoff games yesterday were the best playoffs we've seen in a while. The thing I really liked about the Alabama-Michigan game was the physicality. You could tell about 3-4 plays in that was going to be a physical football game. They were running through each other. There was one play where a Michigan receiver caught the ball. Kool-Aid McKinstry grabbed him, picked him up, and slammed him. There was no flag called. So that got me out of my seat right there. I'm like, this is going to be a physical football game. And all game long, they were just hitting. Nobody was backing down. But I kind of predicted, me personally, I predicted Michigan to come out and dominate that game like that. Alabama's line cannot pass block at all. They have the biggest line out with 350-pound linemen across the board, bigger than the NFL guys. But they're really slow. They're not athletic at all. So they gave up those 5 sacks in the first half, and Michigan found something. So Jalen Milroe, he scrambled a little bit, but he really couldn't scramble around like he did all season and just improv. Michigan had a really good game plan, and I think their physicality shocked Alabama that they were so physical. I think Georgia, when they seen Georgia across the board from them, they were up for more of the challenge. There's the SEC championship title on the line. But Brock Bowers, we have to remember, Brock Bowers was not 100% at all. And Ladd McConkey was not 100% at all. They were really, really banged up and injured. So Georgia really didn't have much on offense. Michigan they've been doubted all year, so they had the doubt factor with them. So they played with their back against the wall, and they came out victorious. So I'm just interested to see what they're going to do against Washington. I've seen that Washington game coming as well. Texas can't defend anybody on a pass play. They get Washington in third down. They cover a Doomsday. They cover McMillan. They cover Pope. But Jack Westover, the tight end, was making a killing on third down. I think he caught 6 balls. At least 3 or 4 of them were on third down. And we also have to give flowers to Kalen DeBoer's coaching ability. At the end of that second half, Texas had them in like a 4th and 1, I believe. He lined up. First, they tried to get them to jump off sides. When they seen they couldn't get them to jump off sides, they called a timeout. Everybody's like, that's a stupid timeout. They came right back out. They got the 4th down. I think they eventually scored a touchdown right before halftime, and then they got the ball back. I thought that game was going to get out of control after the Cedric Baxter fumble. And I'm just happy that Washington went ahead and won that game. I put a little money on them on Prize Picks. I won't say how much, but I put a little money on them, so I came back good on both games. And I think we're going to have a really good championship game. I hope that Washington can match the physicality of Michigan because they are animals. That offensive line, it's a Joe Moore Award finalist for a reason. Washington, Joe Moore Award winners. So you have 2 good offensive lines that are going to be going up against each other. Can Michigan generate some passing? Will they have to throw the football? That's what I'm wondering. Will they have to throw the football at all? And can they cover McMillan and Jalen Pope in a doomsday? And the status of Dylan Johnson's still up in the air. But other than that, I think we're going to have a really, really good championship game. Those are two of the best playoff games I've seen in a while. But as far as the best teams in college football goes, I have Missouri and Ole Miss right up there with everybody. Missouri completely shut Ohio State out besides that 3 points that they got. Missouri, they're looking really strong for next season. And Ole Miss, the way they went out there and dominated Penn State, they're looking scary for next season with the portal additions that they made with Walter Nolan and all the other guys they've got. I'm really excited for next season. I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good one.
You got
pretty good assessment of a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't know if you've had Juwan on the Morning Rush too often, but I think you just met our new director of video scouting here on Halftime.
It's pretty good, pretty knowledgeable. You know, he brought up Kalen DeBoer's name, the coach at Washington. Again, in our part of the world, you know, I doubt 2 in 10 Razorback fans knew who the coach of Washington was. This guy won 3 NAIA national championships, and I know it's NAIA, but he went 67-3. You know, and then he decided he was going to become a D1 coach, and he went to, I guess, Southern Illinois, became an offensive coordinator, and just kind of worked his way through the ranks. But this guy can coach, evidently. And the sequence he was talking about in the first half, I was one of those people thinking, what are you doing calling the timeout for? And then they lined up and they ran it, and they got it. And they were the better team by far last night. And Texas is good, but Washington was better all night.
Cecil, you can take us up into the break. We've got Cecil here on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Happy New Year, Cecil. How are you?
Happy New Year's, fellas. Man, I got so much to say, but I know I ain't got a lot of time to say it. But hopefully y'all had a great Christmas. Happy New Year's. I lost money last night on both games. I was wrong. Of course, I'm going to ride with the SEC. Alabama, to me, got out-coached, man. They made a lot of mistakes. That last play, I didn't understand that play right there. Because when you have 1 second, they got blessed to have another play. After they really it was just a busted play, basically, because he threw it out of bounds. But he had 1 second to go. So what do? You just run the ball up the middle. It was a bad snap, like you just said earlier. It was bad snaps all through the season. So you got to give yourself an option. You got a good quarterback that's really physical. He's fast, and he can throw. So do a play-action pass or something, because you have options. If you just run and get tackled, that's the game. At least you can pass the ball off or do something. It was a great game. Alabama, like I say, they made a lot of mistakes and almost still won the game. They scored, they was 14 points down. It was 2 minutes to go, less than 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. And then they came all the way back to the 1 second to go to win the game. But they lost. So Washington has a really good team. They execute really well, and that quarterback can throw that football. So I don't know who to pick in the championship game. Michigan's good. I guess they got the 2 best teams in there other than Georgia. I still think Georgia's the best team. But and then hopefully the playoffs next year, they will get this stuff corrected, man. Do away with all the little mediocre bowls, the 6-5, 6-6 teams. Just let them, hey, you had a good season, give them a ribbon or something and let them ride, man. Have a party for them after in the student union or something. But that's really messing up a lot of stuff. And, again, how they doing, Florida State, they had all those players opt out, and they getting paid that money, and that's ridiculous. They're going to have to fix that. And you know what? When you always come up with something new, it takes a few years to fix it. I'm sure the NCAA will get that right.
Cecil, thanks, man. It's good to hear from you. Chuck, our callers did a lot of the talking in that last
Yeah, it was
segment.
great. I enjoyed that. Glad they did.
Yeah. They know what they're watching, that's for sure. And we'll look forward to hearing you on the call Saturday when the Hogs take on Auburn on the hardwood.
All right, guys.
Thanks, as always, for these Tuesday
Thank you,
visits.
guys.
Thanks, Chuck.
Chuck Barrett, voice of the Razorbacks, with us here each Tuesday on Halftime. All right, time to close up the first hour. Stay with us.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers has the best burger in town. And every Saturday, enjoy any burger at Art's and get $1 off. Try Art's Bacon Cheeseburger, topped with house-smoked bacon, or the Art Attack with bacon, ham, and a fried egg. And all of Art's burgers come with a mound of fresh-cut fries, or upgrade to Art's homemade onion rings. $1 off all burgers every Saturday at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue, next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Need a new roof? Shamrock Roofing and Construction can have you covered right now for as low as $139.99 with approved credit. For quality and peace of mind, one call does it all. Shamrock Roofing and Construction, call 479-319-5100. Supply issues are no issue at Shamrock Roofing and Construction. As one of America's largest roofing companies, we stocked up early and we stocked up big. We can do your job right now. And because we paid less for our material, we can share those savings with you. Call today or visit us at shamrockroofer.com.
What's on your to-do list today? Does it include looking for a new piece of heavy equipment? If so, come by and see us at Sharp Equipment today and explore our latest offers and deals as a Wacker Newson dealer. Whatever your day brings, whatever job it is you need to complete, Wacker Newson Equipment is up to the task, and Sharp Equipment is here to help. Stop in Central Hydraulics and see us at Sharp Equipment, located at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or give us a call at 479-242-1406.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep West Ark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
West Ark Plumbing. We keep you flowing. Subiaco, Scranton, if you've been wishing for reliable internet for the new year, Wave Rural Connect, Subiaco and Scranton zones will open Monday, January the 8th. Make the resolution to get better internet, TV, and phone, all from a local provider in Ozark, Arkansas. Mark it on your calendar Monday, January 8th. Pre-register online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Do you want to be a part of the team that makes the best pizza and wings in town? Well, I've got great news. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria is now accepting applications for a full-time cook. Fill out your application in person Monday through Saturday between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith. You'll get to make the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Order the double cheese and sausage. Right here, dude.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, we have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-378-4750. So if you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, call now. Find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-378-4750 to speak with a live person now. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Big City!
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Remember, the Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo starts this Thursday. It runs through Sunday. It is at the Rogers Convention Center. Find a vast array of boats, surf boats, pontoons, cruisers, fishing vessels, all the finest boat dealers in the area. The experts are there too. This is the perfect place to see all the boat brands at the same time and compare them. The Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo this Thursday through Sunday at the Rogers Convention Center. That is where your next adventure begins. All right, well, we taught Christian, the C Unit, some Beatles music in December. We figured out something that we might educate him on maybe for the remainder of the year.
Well,
Matt,
that's
why we played that song coming into this segment here. You know what movie that's
I've heard
from.
that part.
Well, if that music has anything to do with it, I actually bought that whole soundtrack off of that movie. So I've owned that before. Yeah, I've seen a lot of
every
those.
song from that movie had a second or third life because of the movie.
Absolutely. Big time Quentin Tarantino fan. Start in order, go down. Start with Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, Pulp Fiction. I mean, just keep on going down the list. But everybody, I don't know if you should just cram it all into, one weekend, or it should kind of be delayed where you can kind of watch it and digest it and understand it. Sometimes you got to go back and watch it 2, 3, 4 times.
I mean, if we're going to cram, a weekend of Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, Pulp Fiction, and Natural Born Killers, that's a little difficult to recover from for work on Monday.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, Kill Bill 1 and 2 might be my favorite just compilation that he has. Then you throw in Jackie Brown before he did that. But then his last few, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, and The Hateful Eight, not counting Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but
To Live and Die
those
in
are some
LA.
long movies, man. There's some good stuff.
We have to start with a very simple question for C Unit because the Beatles thing started with a very simple question. C Unit, have you seen the movie Pulp Fiction?
I've heard of it. I don't.
Oh my God!
Is there like a book or something on it? Maybe.
You just got to start them with week one. You got to start with Reservoir Dogs, and you just got to go down the list because there's no. I mean, you can start with Pulp Fiction if you want to, and just say, "Hey, this is the masterpiece."
I gotta look it up because it does ring a bell.
But you just go down the list. Give us something to do. I'll gladly watch all these movies again, and we'll have a little education.
Matt, this feels to me like when Ty Richardson asked who's Ricky Henderson.
Hey, if you haven't,
is Pulp Fiction? Was there a book, Pulp Fiction? I think I've heard of it.
Well, it's not better than Eric Clapton's A Beatle, and so it's okay to learn. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to learn,
and it feels even better to teach.
There you go.
These are very important lessons that we pass on to the younger generation. 877-377-6963 on a McClarty Daniel hotline. We'll talk with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in 20 minutes. Stay with us.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Hi, this is Melissa, owner of True Grit Running Company. Now that the weather has cooled down, it is the perfect time to get a jump start on those New Year's resolutions. We'll help you start your running journey off right with shoes handpicked just for you based on how you run. Follow us on Facebook to learn more about our group runs for people of all paces, where we can give you advice and support on your running journey. Let us help you find your True Grit fit at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Joe's Grill and Cantina is making the middle of the week something to look forward to. Wednesdays is Nacho Average Wednesday. Get $1 off all nachos every Wednesday and try the all-new ballpark-style pork nachos. And draft or bottled beers are $1 off. Every Thursday is Throwback Thursday. Enjoy some of the old Cuco's classic platters, just the way you remember them. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will be in and out of the clouds. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the mid-40s. Mostly cloudy skies tonight. Overnight low in the low to mid-30s. Wednesday, right back to some sunshine. Our high in the upper 40s to low 50s. And then sunshine with us Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The loudest stadium I've ever been in is Arkansas. My ears was ringing so hard for the noise. That was a pretty crazy environment.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
I hate everything you just said.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Bushlight Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. I put my heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
What's able one Razorback?
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Into your 12 o'clock hour. Some people could call it a lunch hour. Some people are not working yet today, although we are. School doesn't get back in session until tomorrow. I let my kids sleep until about 11 o'clock this morning. It's cruel, though. And we'll go from 11 o'clock to 6:45 in the morning tomorrow and be like, yep, nice dose of hard, cold reality slapping you in the face to go along with your cold temperatures. Alyssa Orange coming up in about 15 minutes. So we got an open segment if you want to get on with us on that McClarty Daniel hotline. It's 877-377-6963.
We're going to get into any Dolphins football with Alyssa. I know she has her favorite teams. And, you know, they had to play against Baltimore, Phil. They get Buffalo next week. It's about seeding and stuff. Are they pretenders or contenders, what I'm asking? Do you still have faith in them? They're kind of injury bug. I don't know if I'm putting them in that top three.
No, I'm not right now. I'm not. We're going top three conference or in the league.
Yeah, just for
Baltimore. For me right now, Baltimore is head and shoulders above everybody in the AFC. Head and shoulders. In the NFC, I don't know right now. Philadelphia sliding downward. 49ers, I don't know if I'd say they were exposed by Baltimore, but there's, you got to worry with a bad home loss like that, bad just by the differential in points. Lions, maybe. Cowboys, maybe.
Cleveland's defense.
That's
I don't
one
have
that's worth talking about.
See, I don't have Miami. Yeah, if you were just saying top 3 in the AFC, but let's just say top 5 overall, no, I have them on the outside looking in. It seems like they're getting a little injury bug, and they're struggling to get stops sometimes.
I was reading a piece in The Athletic this morning. The writer is surmising about maybe a potential breakup between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick. He sees all the writing on the wall. And it started me wondering about what you could see after the national championship game. A lot of people feel like it's some sort of a foregone conclusion that Jim Harbaugh is jumping to the NFL. I guess there's these dalliances almost every year, but it does feel like now's the time. And I'll tell you a franchise that I think he would fit in with. Now, I know we're looking at the Chargers potentially. If the Patriots were to come calling, it's a rebuild. Chargers aren't necessarily a rebuild, but I do wonder about, I mean, he helped rebuild the 49ers. That would be a very interesting set of circumstances to replace maybe the greatest coach in NFL history with a very successful and at times controversial coach who, he hasn't won the national championship yet in college football, but he's taken his team as close as you can get, and he got the Niners as close as you can get without winning one, too.
I think Tomlin's on that short list of greatest coaches in NFL history. What was that, 17 years in a row without a losing record? I mean, that really is just a feat in itself. I think a lot of people are going to come calling for Coach Harbaugh. 100%, I think a lot of people will. I think if you win the national championship at Michigan, you don't leave. They're going to make him the highest paid coach in college football, and you go out and you try to do it again. I think it's hard to break up the band, man, when you just won a national title and you're going to have a lot of that team coming back. But maybe so. Did Antonio Pierce, is he going to be the guy out there for the Las Vegas Raiders? Is he going to? Because I was thinking Harbaugh might be one of those, but you're making
He's
a good point.
Acing the first interview
with San Diego. He's the golden child right now as far as Justin Herbert? That's where everybody wants to go. They say, man, if you want in the next 10 years to have an A+ quarterback, he's that, and that's a position open.
Yeah, that's the thing. Although the Patriots, I mean, what are they playing for against the Jets this weekend?
A 5th win.
I would assume to lose and to get a better draft selection. Although, I guess it's kind of difficult to coach to lose, but there have been some teams that look like they're doing that. I think there are 6 teams that potentially have a chance at the 2nd overall pick. Chicago clinches the number 1 pick because Carolina's got the worst record no matter what. Bears have their pick. Do you go get a quarterback if you're the Bears?
I like
Justin Fields. Or do you try to bolster the line? I like Justin Fields, too.
It's a lot of turmoil there. I mean, like a lot of overchange. They've had different OC a couple years, and you got to look at the pieces around them. Did you think of Caleb Williams or Drake May? I guess it's the evaluation process, Phil. You go to the combine, and how much. See, Andrew Luck, when he went to the Colts from the Stanford, if you guys remember, they took his OC from Stanford to the Colts with them and started kind of implementing the same. RG3, when he went to the Redskins with Shanahan, they did a lot of that Baylor playbook. They brought in, what do you do well? So that being said, is it going to be a new OC, or you're going to get Caleb Williams, and then you're going to find out, okay, what was he running at USC, bringing somebody over and it helps that transition a little bit. Because I don't know if Caleb Williams or Drake May, if you're saying who would be better next year, or Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields just needs the right environment around him, a little more stability in some of the other areas.
What about Michael Penix as a pro? I mean, he just put it all on display for everybody to see yesterday. And I think Chuck's right. I think a lot of people haven't watched Washington just because of where they're located nationally. Things might change a bit next year because I'd assume they've got a few more games that are closer to the middle of the day in the Big Ten. But watching him yesterday, I know it's a college football game, Matt, but he looks to me like he can make all the throws. He's got good enough size. He's mobile enough, not necessarily a runner, but I think Penix looks like somebody who could have some NFL success.
Absolutely. The thing you want to see, he does have a longer delivery. It's a little more of a wind up, and that's just me and picky. You're nitpicking a little bit. How strong is his arm? Is it? He's pretty accurate. The talent around him. having an offensive line like that, but having all those receivers. I mean, there's 3 guys I saw that, and maybe 7. Sure. I think 7 as well. They're running back. They got a handful of guys that are going to play on Sunday. Is he going to go to a team that has that much talent around him as well? But I think what he's done is he's worked himself in that he'll be a first-round pick. I don't know where it is, and to me with him, you know, you saw Will Levis last year and Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud and your boy Bryce Young. Those first 3 have a absolutely strong arm. You know, Stroud and Anthony and Levis. I don't know if Penix has that strong of an arm, but what is the difference? You know, what's your wins above replacements? How much lower is it? And he's so the thing that he was so accurate last night, and he was throwing off different platforms. He's moving around in different arm angles, and it didn't matter. He's putting the ball right. I mean, he was an absolute joy to watch last night.
Charlie's in on the McClarty Daniel hotline, and he'll take us up into the break. Charlie, what's up? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. My voice is going to be a little off. I have the flu, so
everybody's voice is off on January 2nd. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I do have the flu, and it's been a tough, rough few days for the tuna. I mean, the tuna had plans for New Year's, and they just all went downhill. So, but I have been watching ball, man, and I'm with you. Another thing about Penix that I like, you know, there was a play early in the game where Texas D lineman got through there pretty quick, and he just made a quick step to his left or right, I can't remember, and delivered the ball. You know, I didn't know he was as athletic as he was. And I'm with you guys, too, on Justin Fields, man. I just think it's the situation. I really do. I think, you know, if you – in Carolina right now, man, they look so stupid. I thought they should have hired Steve Wilkes last year after the job he did when he took over. Like, I just didn't understand that move. And then you get a guy who is, like, basically retired now, and now you're looking for another coach. I mean, Steve Wilkes deserves a job to me. Like, he's a great coach. He deserves an opportunity. Has our Texas man called in yet? Phil?
No, he is not.
Okay. I just wonder how long it'll be before we hear from him. Maybe he's, you know, I've had tissues the last few days. Maybe he's got a few tissues around right now. So, but it's all good. You know, Texas had a great year.
The first 5 texts today, Charlie, on the McClarty Daniel hotline were about Brian. And I got text this morning from Eduardo the Sherpa. He was texting about Brian too. Everybody's got him on the mind because I guess he's.
Anyway, y'all have a good one, man. Happy New Year.
He's our favorite Longhorn fan.
Happy New Year, Charlie. I do think, Phil, I think the Longhorns are going to finish no worse than 6 in the final poll. I think they'll finish it probably in the top 5, honestly, but they're going to finish no worse. Hold your head up, man. That was a good season. I didn't have the Texas Longhorns being in the top 5, top 6 when the college football season started this year. And that number, that blue, that number 23 they have, Texas, he lost him the game. He fumbled the ball. He dropped a touchdown pass that was just put right in his belly. That dude is electric. How fast he is. He reminded me of Percy Harvin out there. I mean, Reggie Bush speed. Like, he could get to that next level, and you weren't going to catch him. He just couldn't hold on to the ball. I mean, Texas kind of beat themselves.
Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation in just a moment on halftime. Remember, Crabtree RV Center in Alma is the dealership that has served the River Valley in Northwest Arkansas for over 7 decades. You know where it's located, beside the Cracker Barrel in Alma, right at the junction of I-40 and I-49. Crabtree RV Center will give you the best experience, help you choose the right RV for your adventures. The service and parts department, everything else that you need is right there at Crabtree RV. Let them get your spring started in the right direction with one of their RVs, and you can learn more at crabtreerv.com. Stay tuned. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation is next on halftime.
Who cares about Blue Bloods when you believe Razorback Red?
For maybe the win. One. Thurman, 2-pointer. Yeah.
Play to win. Play for each other.
Thank you to everybody that said we have no chance.
Play for Arkansas. It's time for the next era. Let's make it Razorback Red.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep West Arc Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
West Arc Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using a Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building quality fencing and gates, is looking for quality people to join the Fence Man team. If you are a fence builder or have building or welding experience, apply in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man offers great pay and a $500 sign-on bonus. Join the top fence building team and get a $500 sign-on bonus. The Fence Man. Apply today in person at 1213 North 32nd Street in Fort Smith. The Fence Man is an equal opportunity employer.
Picture this, a cold winter's night and suddenly no heat. That's exactly what happened to us. But when we called Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric, they were right there. Their pros didn't just fix our heating. They brought back our home's warmth and comfort in no time. Even when our water heater started leaking, Paschal was the first name we thought of. Quick, professional, and so understanding. With Paschal's flexible payment options, we didn't have to worry about a big expense all at once. Now our home is comfortable and so is our budget. Schedule now at gopaschal.com.
The Hangout, Fort Smith's newest fitness center. Over 8,000 square feet of 24-hour fitness. Indoor pickleball, tennis, and racquetball. Looking for help with your fitness needs? The Hangout has group and individual fitness training, with more options coming soon. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thehangoutfs.com. Pickleball leagues forming now. Be a part of something different, something better that Fort Smith has needed. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Progressive presents an ad from Mom.
Hello? Is it on? Oh, okay. Bundle your home and auto insurance with Progressive and get protection round the clock. Round the clock? Does this generation even understand what round the clock means? But I'm just saying, because don't come to me when they ask to do this over, because the kids won't get it.
Get round-the-clock protection when you bundle and save with Progressive. It's easier than getting your mom to make this radio ad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! Well, I snuck to a window to leave her a note. Will you come meet me at the back of the grove? All the trees were in bloom, that sweet smell in the air. We were trembling together. We were young, we were scared, yeah. True love, hard to find.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Time to talk with Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation. Get a piece of her time every Tuesday. Happy New Year, Alyssa. How you doing?
I'm great, guys. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year. Yes, ma'am. Alyssa, so I mean, what theater, how awesome was last night. And we had talked earlier about picking one of the games. Phil and I did about, if you could just choose one. It's a good thing we didn't, because both of them were phenomenal in their own right. What were your takeaways in those two games?
Yeah, really fun football for sure. And I think when it was all said and done, I remember Saul and I looked at it, so I was like, that was really fun couple hours of football between Michigan and Alabama and Washington and Texas. And I'm rooting for Washington in this one. Both my sister and brother-in-law are alums of UW and still live in Seattle, so that's where my loyalty is lying. So I was really glad to see the Huskies get the win last night, but got a little nervous. I wasn't going to lie. I thought they were going to throw that stage back to the end zone again to number 5. And the guy that used to play at Georgia, and I was like, oh, no, Texas has got this. But Washington was able to prevail, which was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see Michigan and Washington play. But I don't think you could have asked for two better football games. Really sad kind of the way that Alabama – it felt a little bit of a letdown after such an exciting game that's how that Alabama-Michigan game ended, with Jalen Milroe in the bad snap and kind of just like falling in to the line of scrimmage. I wish it was a little bit more exciting than that, but that's what we got, and still two really good football games.
Yeah, I could not believe that. I counted over 5 times that they had a snap like that, and that's just such an elementary error to be this late in the season. And not to put a damper on this, Alyssa, but I do want to get your thoughts on Michigan making it to the championship and just kind of what they've went through with kind of the stain on college football, that it seems like everybody's just swept it under the rug and everybody's already moved on from it.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to look at it both ways, or two different ways in a sense. Michigan has a lot of baggage, has a lot of outside noise with everything that went on with the cheating scandal and some other stuff, and Harbaugh being suspended twice, and that can be a team that can be really distracted. So I think I commend that locker room for staying focused, because a lot of times those things that are happening with your coaching staff, whatever those details are, right? No, I don't know how many people truly know what was going on with both of those occasions. The players don't always have anything to do with it, or a lot to do with it at all. So for them to stay focused and continue to execute at a high level, you do have to kind of tip your cap to them for shutting out that noise. Now, do you feel like this is going to be tainted if there's a lot of people on social media who are like, I cannot believe the NCAA isn't doing anything. Like, you have reprimanded this team twice this year, yet it's no big deal, and now they could win a national championship. And I think some people are just disappointed in that way. But, again, at the same time, they still showed up, got their business done, and now can play for a title. So it's such a, catch-22 the way that you look at it. But, let's see what happens next week. If they win the national title, I think it'll be a big topic of conversation during the offseason. Should things have been done to this team, yada, yada. If Washington wins it, I think, like you said, everyone kind of forgets about it.
And but before we get into, we got a little more football talk. I want to switch over, Alyssa, and ask you about this basketball team that's starting. It seems like they're coming in. Maybe we found our point guard. And I know it's a team effort. You're going to need a collection of guys. And the SEC's tough. The SEC right now, I think I got us going 7-2 at home and 2-7 on the road. That gets us to about 9-9. That's kind of where I see this team at. What are your thoughts going in, as if you've seen all these tune-ups and they're ready? We seem like we got our guys, and maybe the point guard. We found out who it's going to be. What are your thoughts going into this Saturday?
Well, I feel a lot better than I did a week ago. Or 2 weeks ago, for sure, when this team just couldn't figure stuff out. And having Keon Menafield, we've seen since he's been able to play how valuable of a guy he was. That's why they got him out of Washington in the transfer portal. It's why he was an all Pac-12 freshman, all freshman team last year. So I think that's good, and it makes you feel a little bit better that maybe they have that glue guy. And we've talked about that's what Devo Davis is, but at this point, maybe they needed something fresher, and that's what Keon Menafield is, and so maybe that changes things. However, defensively, they continue to need to get better, and that's where I'm worried, that on the defensive end, that they are just going to not be able to slow down some of these top SEC teams like your Tennessee, Auburns, Kentuckys, Alabamas, Texas A&Ms right now. Like, where is your defense going to allow you to land in the SEC? And I think that's where it all hinges on is can they – it's not obviously they can score, but can they keep the other team from scoring a lot? And so I think it's going to be really interesting what these first couple of games show, specifically having to start with Auburn at home. But I feel much better about this team now than I did, like I said, a week ago.
Well, Emory Ellis should be returning to practice, I think, this week. The women's team opens up conference play at Kentucky. That's a team that's really struggling. They get Kentucky twice in the next 3 weeks. But getting Emory back, is that enough? You know, Jenna's kind of growing into her role. I'm not sure if Christina Sanchez or Kaya is ready to get a lot of minutes yet. Is Emory enough for this depth, or do you think there might be need a little somebody else to step up to?
Yeah, well, I think they're headed in the right direction for sure. I was really impressed with the way that they continued to find ways to win without her and without that depth and playing only 7 girls or 8 girls, you know, when they did in Fort Myers, and being able to still find success. And I think that's a big testament to, you know, Michaela Daniels and Sayla Poffenbarger and Sam Spencer and that experience that they have. But they're going to need that depth, and so they're going to need Emory Ellis to come in there and Jenna Lawrence to continue to play well. She's been averaging about 10 minutes, I think, these last couple of games when she has played, and Neighbors has said her offense is there. It's all about the defense, and that's where you gain and lose confidence a lot is on that defensive side of the ball, and if she can continue to get better defensively, then she could be a huge – I would love to see her be that 6th person off the bench, honestly, when it's all said and done with this women's team towards as we get closer to March. I think she's got that capability to be that player. She just needs to take a little bit of a step forward defensively, and she can be a really big key for this team. But I think just getting Emory Ellis and having that depth is like, you know, a little bit of a sigh of relief for the rest of her teammates. They don't feel as much pressure because they know I can't come out because I don't really have anyone to take my spot. Or Miriam Dowdis, you know, she continues, I say foul trouble, but you look and she's got 4 fouls a game. And so Miriam's got a little bit of weight off her shoulders as well, knowing that, you know, she can continue to play cleaner, but also know that, like, I'm not putting my team in a bind if I'm now on the bench because I'm in foul trouble and we have no one else to work with. So, yeah, they play on the road at Kentucky. Should be a good one. So you get to call a game in Rupp Arena, which has got to be fun too, right?
Yeah, it's only the second time the women's team has ever played at Rupp. I've only been inside just to look at a concert crowd. That was it. So I'm pretty excited to see this building.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we'll see. All that to say, Emory Ellis back is not at all a bad thing for this women's team.
Alyssa, I know you got your eyes on that Baltimore-Miami game. It's a regular season game, and, you know, things happen. There's a lot of good teams out there. Nothing, you know, it's just how it goes. What are you thinking? How you feeling? You get Buffalo coming into town for a chance. Now, if y'all win this game, you get a home field game, right?
Yes. Yep. And because you win the AFC East. And if you lose, Buffalo wins with the tiebreaker because they've swept you this regular season. So I'm definitely nervous because of where Miami is trending right now from an injury standpoint. You know, they didn't have Jalen Waddle. They didn't have Raheem Mostert last week against Baltimore. And now Bradley Chubb is out with an ACL injury for the rest of the season, which sucks. So, you know, do you play Jalen and Rashad this weekend knowing that you don't necessarily need to win this game? You're already in the playoffs, but you'd love to be able to play at home. Do you save them and keep them healthy for a playoff win, which they haven't had in years? I don't know how you approach this one, but I am a little nervous because I feel like Miami had so much momentum, and this injury bug is really hitting them at the wrong time right now. I don't even think Tyreek Hill's maybe necessarily 100%. So I've still got my hopes up. I want to thank everyone on Twitter who reached out this weekend because it was a rough football weekend for me. But at the same time, I had to put it into perspective. It wasn't that long ago where all of my teams, the team that I cover in Arkansas and the teams that I follow in Florida State and Miami, they were all terrible. So right now I can see some silver lining and perspective on it.
Well,
I was okay.
Alyssa, don't worry. Spring training is right around the corner. The Dodgers are about to go 162-0. No, don't worry. They'll go 162-0, and then they'll lose in the playoffs because of how weird the playoffs are now.
To the Padres of all teams.
Right, exactly.
That's what they do.
Well, a Happy New Year, Alyssa. Always enjoy you visiting with us. Thank you so much for this, and we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys, too. We'll talk next week.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Alyssa.
So Alyssa Orange, Pig Trail Nation with us, resident Dodgers fan. Yeah, 162-0, and then they'll go 2-3 in the divisional series.
Football's so tough, man. It makes me think of the Cincinnati Bengals a couple years ago. Not the year they went to the Super Bowl, but the year they had like 3 offensive linemen get hurt. I mean, it just stuff happens. The San Francisco 49ers had 3 quarterbacks get. Yeah, that was last. So it's a war of attrition. It really is.
You know, that's part of also the conversation about Georgia wasn't fully healthy for the SEC championship game with Bowers and McConkey, but that's also part of the sport. That is war of attrition, no doubt. 877-377-6963 calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline. Stay with us. Halftime is right back.
Hello, this is Kevin Cowan at KC Insurance, and I just wanted to tell you all about plans that we have for Arkansans. It's through the Affordable Care Act, formerly known as Obamacare. Most Arkansans can qualify for a plan for $10 a month premium or below. We are located at 912 Highway 6265 North in Harrison, Arkansas, in the Ace Hardware Shopping Center. Give Ricky Cowan a call at 870-517-1207. Thank you.
At Red River Dodge, not only do we have new vehicles, but we also have top quality pre-owned, all the way from your big rig trucks to your luxury class SUVs. Are you needing to trade in a used vehicle? That's no problem. Here at Red River Dodge, we give top dollar for your trade-in. Whatever it is you're needing, here at Red River Dodge, we have it. Give us a call today at 501-362-5831 or visit us on the web at redriverdodge.com. And don't forget, folks, we deliver.
This is Halftime.
Subiaco, Scranton, if you've been wishing for reliable internet for the new year, Wave Rural Connect. Subiaco and Scranton zones will open Monday, January the 8th. Make the resolution to get better internet, TV, and phone, all from a local provider in Ozark, Arkansas. Mark it on your calendar Monday, January 8th. Pre-register online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Doe's Eat Place, serving award-winning steaks, has now added lobster tail and salmon to the menu. You can also enjoy delicious appetizers along with your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Doe's Eat Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended. Call 784-9111. That's 784-9111. Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
With over 8,000 square feet of all the latest trends in lighting and plumbing fixtures, Great House Fixtures has all the brands you know and love, such as Visual Comfort Lighting and Delta Faucets. Their experienced staff can help you design and select the perfect fixtures for your uniquely you home, including sinks, tubs, faucets, custom showers, indoor and outdoor lighting, chandeliers, mirrors, hardware, and more. Make your house a great house. Learn more at greathousefixtures.com, located on 0th Street in Fort Smith. Great House Fixtures by J&B Supply.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leaf-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey! Nobody move, there's blood on the floor. And I can't find my heart. Where did it go? Did I leave it in the cold? So please give it back, 'cause it's not yours to take. It must have fell when I lost my mind.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We're still doing TP tax. I didn't institute it at the start of the show. I didn't keep track of it last week. It was a janky week. I didn't have my notebook with me.
Is it over
I guess
today?
we can put it to bed. R.I.P.
Well, maybe after today, because today's the last day.
Last day, then we double tax today.
Whoa, all right then. So I get $51 on the TP tax right now. Any mention of
that
the
a Ken Norton
verboten
Jr.?
words. Is that a what?
Is that a Ken Norton Jr.? Was he 51?
Ooh, it's a linebacker number. It'd be a good one. Maybe that is a who's 51 of the Steelers? That was a James Ferrier number. Again, I'm not as good with the numbers as you are, the football uniform numbers. Though I had a friend who would remember phone numbers.
My locker
Back when
combination. You know how you had 3-digit locker
Yes.
combination? That's how it went down.
Well, a friend, we remember when you had to remember phone numbers or write them down. He would remember phone numbers through Steelers uniform numbers.
There you go.
You say, yeah, Franco Harris, James
Terry
Harrison,
Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw. Yeah, just one of those sort of things.
Lynn Swan.
Exactly. All right, so this is the last day of the window. It's the last day of the TP tax. That means we can just say it as much as we want until the window opens again after spring ball. 15-day window again, 15 days to raise taxes for C-Unit's musical education.
Do we still have 8 Scallies available, Phil? Do we know what's the latest? Have we had any bites? I know that KJ's going to take his talents to Orlando, and I think it's a great fit for him. But we still need a little help. We need a little help on the defensive side, and I know when we talked about it on signing day, whenever we had signing day, that there was 8 scholarships left, and I wonder what they're going out there, because now all the bowl games are over, and so you'd like to think some of those teams, some of those players that maybe were sitting out, maybe they're ready to make their move.
15 out, 8 in. I do think you're right. I think it's 9. I think it's 9 since Jaheim Thomas went into the warp zone. So you really got to rebuild linebacker now. You got Xavier Sori coming in from Georgia.
We need at least 2 gets. We need at least
That's
2
right.
guys that have played that can play, that have played. And a thing, Phil, and this is, and I know we brought this up last week, but I absolutely love when you get a guy from a Power 5 school, even if it's not an SEC school. You see Michael Penix, he's a guy from Indiana. He went to a Power 5 school and then was able to warp zone to a different level.
Well, I guess some of the returning linebackers that maybe get a look, Alex Sanford, Brad Spence, Carson Dean, those were freshmen that didn't get on the field too often last year. And then you got 3 freshman linebackers in the recruiting class coming in. One of the big gets was Bradley Shaw. He'd committed I think it was just about a week or so ago, but he's not going to be there for spring ball, so I wonder if he'll be ready to go. Wyatt Simmons, Justin Logan are the incoming freshmen. So, yeah, I mean, you lost Antonio Greer to eligibility, although Greer had an announcement on his social media yesterday announcing that he's putting himself into the draft, and it's like, well, you're out of eligibility, so what else was there going to be? Thomas, Pooh Paul, Manny Powell, Jordan Crook. And that's pretty much like all the depth that Arkansas had at the position, at least guys that got on the field for defensive plays, not just special teams. So I know that it's a big recruiting weekend on the Hill. This weekend for the Auburn game and everything, I mean, you're going to have a lot of players coming in that are looking at Arkansas as the place to show what they can do. And, man, I mean, doesn't it feel right now? You got one linebacker coming in out of the warp zone, and I figure there has to be, another two at least? I would think you need another two.
Yeah, hopefully Coach Travis Williams is, he's on it, on top of things and trying to find somebody out there that wants to be a Razorback and wants to do it his way and the right way. We need some help. That defense was a strong point for us last year. I'd like to see us be able to build. I know it's the way it goes. You don't get to see a lot of the guys for 3, 4, 5 years. Get to watch them redshirt and watch them develop. See them in spring ball. You just kind of plug and play. It'd be interesting to see. But I think there'll be a lot of movement. Is today's the last day, right?
Last day to go into the warp zone.
How long do you have to sign? You can sign all the way up through spring ball.
I think you can sign all the way up until
you're declaring
camp opens in summer.
You're like Michael Scott on The Office. I declare bankruptcy. All you're doing is you're just declaring that you're in there, and then now you just wait. Now somebody comes and gets you, or you choose the right fit.
That seems to be right.
See, I thought you had to jump in. Yeah,
that's what this is about right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's exactly what this is about right now. I mean, if you want to go through spring ball, then you got to get in now. You got to sign now, but you can still go in or stay there until spring ball opens. I guess take classes wherever it is that you are right now if the scholarship still works. But yeah, I would imagine in the next week there's going to be a lot of players that have to make their choices. So this would feel like the last best chance to really start bringing in some dudes, because they're in need of dudes, I think, still maybe on the offensive line, certainly at linebacker.
Lost our best two corners. McLaughlin, is he gone? And then it was 13. Did he go to the warp zone, or did he?
McLaughlin is gone.
Yeah. I thought he was okay. I think he's a guy that gets to the right fit, stays healthy. I'd like to see his times, Phil. But I think he's 100% a guy that can play on Sundays.
Snacks Johnson did announce he's going to stay.
Good.
He was kind of a do-everything guy. Played the hog position, played some safety, played some corner. So he's a pretty important player, too, for this defense to know that you got him coming back. But, yeah, I mean, they got at him now. Got at him now. Got to get him in, and then spring ball I guess it starts in a little more than 2 months. KJ going to UCF. I didn't check on how many other quarterbacks were still in the warp zone, but did you see Cam Ward has decided he's making himself eligible for the draft now? The Washington State
kid,
yeah, he's being looked at by the Florida teams. I think by Ohio State too. So I mean, that's a guy that I guess you just expected was going to go to one of the big schools, but he's going to the draft instead. And DJ Uiagalelei is going to Florida State.
He's just bouncing around. Yeah,
he gets Clemson again. Clemson, Florida State are on the schedule next year, so he'll quarterback against the team that he quarterbacked for 2 years and then left, and actually had a better season at Oregon State this year than Clemson had. So that'll be a really interesting one to look at as well. Outside of that, what else does Arkansas need to look at in the warp zone? I don't think you can ever have too many offensive linemen, at least guys that you think can play here. But I do wonder at this point how many are out there and available. I'd look at linebacker. I think defensive back. They got this kid. It was a kid, the wide receiver from Texas A&M that they're looking at too. I do think you might be looking at another receiver.
Okay, yeah.
Not Evan Stewart. That's not going to happen here. That's not going to happen here. But it's a younger receiver. The thing I wonder about him though is he's 5'10", 165 pounds, and you already have one of those guys. You know, he's all speed, not much size. You have one of those guys in Satania, and I'd really like to see Isaiah Satania develop here in his third year on the Hill, because that still feels like a ton of athleticism that hasn't necessarily played itself out on the field in the way that speed can. And you're still looking to bring in a wide receiver coach. That's the next aspect too. Haven't made the hire on wide receiver coach, so I guess that's next up, and the last one to figure out what the coaching staff is going to look like.
You see what it's like with Washington having those receivers, and a lot of it's an extension of the run game. When he throws it out there that quick, it's because you got a 3-on-2 matchup, or you got your 3-on-3, or you got your lineman coming to try to give you some. It's an extension of like a sweep play of an outside run. But when you have some receivers and you can get it out, Phil, those D-backs from Texas, they don't like to tackle too much. You know, when you're a cornerback, you like to cover. You know, you don't want to go in there and bang heads. Now, they had some safeties. Was that at number 16, that Taft guy? It was Taaffe, I think. He was a walk-on that Sark gave it was his first scholarship he gave to a walk-on. Man, he was filling the channels and filling the lanes and coming up ready to hit. That's how a safety. I liked what I saw out of him.
Some of the best. I mean, really, were that the best wide receivers that you could have watched in the country outside of maybe Marvin Harrison Jr.?
As a group, that was the thing. McMillan had been hurt all year. He'd only been there 5 games. As a group, it reminded me a lot of the LSU Joe Burrow, those LSU Tigers that had Justin Jefferson. They had 2 guys that are the other guy's name I can't think of, but they had and even when Calvin Ridley was there at. And Devontae Adams at Alabama, you know, they had a couple times when they had like 2. That's what it looked like when you had 2 guys that could really go, because you roll coverage so much. You're making sure you're taking somebody away, and if you got 2 guys out there that you can't roll, somebody's always going to be manned up or some type of soft zone, and it's hard to cover.
You mentioned LSU. Did you see Malik Neighbors broke the record for receiving yards by an LSU receiver in the first half of the ReliaQuest Bowl, and then sat out the second half? I mean, that's like half an opt-out, right? He played. It feels. I mean, he played in order to go set the record, and I mean that's fine. I mean, he went through all the practices and everything else, and now he sits. And I guess it's a matter of whether or not he wants to go in the draft now, because he's been there for 3 years. For me, it looks like Malik Neighbors is ready to go play in the NFL, but that's like half an opt-out.
I think Malik Neighbors would get drafted. I 100% agree with you. No. I don't know what his times are. A lot of that kind of gets to your times, and they sprinkle in. You'll see a bevy of receivers go somewhere in that second, third round where you'll see like 6 taken out of 9, 10 picks. So yeah, I think he would be one of those guys.
Well, that whole NFL Combine thing is coming up. I guess it's in
February. Usually
less than 2 months. It's usually. I think it goes into the last week of February into March, or at least it did last year.
It was either the second or third week in February 20 years ago when I did it. Yeah, that's one thing that after you do, Phil, you're like never again.
It's a one-time only, right?
It's a 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, and you don't go to bed till midnight for 4 days in a row, and they pick and prod and cattle. It's like you're a herd of cattle just going through just these tests, and it's definitely intense.
A one-time only thing. Don't make it one-time only at Joe's Grill and Cantina, because today is Taco Tuesday at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Yeah, don't worry about all the leftovers in the fridge. Taco Tuesday is the place to be at Joe's. Beef or chicken crispy tacos, $1 all day long. The pork carnita tacos are $2.95. Raise it up to $3.95. That's a brisket or pork belly taco. $3 for the 8-inch beef or chicken burrito all day long. Joe's Grill and Cantina. 3400 South 74th and Fort Smith, and the Waiter app to put in an order. Halftime is right back.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco for hard work.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
If you hope heaven has a bar, it's guaranteed that you'll be bounced and barred. Heaven is reserved for those who have put their hope in God's Word. Jesus said you must be born again by trusting in Him, or you won't see the kingdom of heaven. God set the bar so high, that's why Jesus had to die. If you refuse God's last call, the Holy Spirit will serve you a fireball. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.
Looking for an African adventure without the hassle of planning? Kruger Safari Club has got you covered. Our custom hunting and safari packages take care of everything from transportation to accommodations, so you can focus on enjoying the experience of a lifetime. With our team's extensive knowledge of the best hunting and safari spots in South Africa, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe, you'll have access to some of the most breathtaking views and exciting game hunting opportunities on the planet. And with our commitment to ethical hunting and giving back to the local community, you'll know that your trip with us is making a positive impact. Book your trip now and let us take care of the rest. Find out more at KrugerSafariClub.com.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business, on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
the kids get the one last day out of school, which means you can't really get into that routine of normalcy until tomorrow. And it's just it's like running in place.
Everybody's coughing on you. It's
yeah,
just
there's things going around right now.
Everybody's got a little tickle in their throat. Everybody's kind of blowing their nose, and it's like, yeah, thanks, yeah.
You want to stay as far away from people as you possibly can now, don't you?
This whole 6-foot rule that was established a couple years ago, where and people covered up their faces all the time and didn't breathe on you. What was that? Just like 3 years ago, something happened. It was actually pretty brilliant. I think more people should go out like that. Everybody should kind of take care of the personal space.
Well, there's still some of those places that have all of the guidelines up, or even still. You remember they would put like a dot where you're supposed to stand, and then another dot 6 feet away, so on and so forth. You still see this in some places. Like, well, I guess you can't. There aren't. Can't you just get one of the razors and just sort of peel them up, or just leave it there? Because some people always want to socially distance. January though, anybody doing a dry January out there? Anyone? I don't see. I didn't have a crazy December anyway, so I don't know if I really feel like I got to do anything like that. It won't be a dry January. It'll just be a cold January.
Dry heat, a dry wind.
Nobody ever calls it a dry coldness, do they?
Dry, yeah.
Definitely does. Dan says you've got a large bottle of sanitizer ready to go everywhere you go. You're not one of those people, though, that actually travels with a ton of sanitizer with you.
I do not. I don't use a lot of sanitizer.
Matt does. Matt is the. You probably utilize more Lysol in the Lysol can in the studio than anyone else.
Well, it's just how it is. It's how it is. What are you going to do?
Tyler texts in. He keeps the vodka on hand and ready to go.
That's how you have Russian morning. You know how you have Russian morning? Take 3 shots vodka and go on walk. Keep you healthy.
And leave out your the rejoinders in some of your sentences there.
That's right.
Well, you can also use it for hand sanitizer. There was what's the distillery in Little Rock, Rocktown? I think a lot of places did this. They converted to making hand sanitizer for a few months there. Derek says he's going dry for the year. That's an entire year, and it's an extra day this year. This is a leap year, folks. It's 366.
29 days in February.
Mm-hmm.
A little Eric Dickerson. All right.
Willie Parker, am I getting my numbers
wrong? Was Dave
Willie
Winfield?
Parker was 39, not 29.
39, yeah.
Wish I would be able to pull this off. Dan likes your Russian morning, but he says the Irish breakfast is more for him. Six pack of Guinness and a potato.
Well, you got to take a tinkle a lot if you go 6-pack of Guinness. You get your. But yes, hey, a Guinness. That's those Irish harps is what as I call them. So. I didn't know Ireland's national instrument was a harp, and then you're looking at a Guinness, and it's like, oh, there's the harp because it's their national instrument. So get me a 4-pack of those harps. Those Irish
black
harps.
and tan sounds good, man.
Do you use a Bass or a Sierra Nevada?
I would use a Bass.
Yeah.
I want to be as authentic as possible.
Do you know you can't actually make a Mai Tai anymore because the original recipe calls for 20-year-old rum, and they don't make 20-year-old rum?
I also saw that the town where bolognese sauce has come from in Italy, they have redone the official recipe for bolognese sauce.
Oh,
I thought this would be sort of a time-honored tradition. Things do change sometimes, which includes our third hour of halftime coming up in just a moment. Calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. It'll be a wet third hour coming up next.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Are you great at picking NFL games?
Yes, sir!
Then enter ESPN Arkansas's Pro Football Pick'em Challenge on hitthatline.com.
Touchdown, Kansas!
Kansas City.
ESPN Arkansas's Pro Football Pick'em Challenge is presented by Heartland Hyundai.
And on behalf of the 5-time world champion Dallas Cowboys.
Only on hitthatline.com.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leaf-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush. Light beer.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022. Anheuser-Busch, Busch, and Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, we will be in and out of the clouds. Our high temperatures this afternoon in the mid-40s. Mostly cloudy skies tonight. Overnight low in the low to mid-30s. Wednesday, right back to some sunshine. Our high in the upper 40s to low 50s. And then sunshine with us Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with the forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
When you look at Arkansas, you say hearts, guts, defense, and it comes from the guy on top.
ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Here we go.
From the Busch Light Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Well, this town is a pigskin paradise.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect you.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Matt Jones may take it to the house and the dunk.
You both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. I put my heart up. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
But they were one Razorback.
Second half, very happy.
Is vintage Matt Jones.
1, 2, 3.
Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Our first show of the year has gone pretty well. Nobody said anything that needs to lead to a punishment. Our TP tax sitting still at $51. We haven't said the verboten words today. And once the warp zone closes, we can say it however much we want until spring ball's open, and then that thing is done, and then you get back into the TP zone one more time. Calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Remember, as you head into the new year, 6 locations to get a great deal on any vehicle from McClarty Daniel, and always online at McClartyDaniel.com. Take a look at some of the headlines here on ESPN. There's a controversy going on in Pittsburgh with the quarterback position. There was reports yesterday that Kenny Pickett refused to dress as the backup for Mason Rudolph last week. The second game in a row that Rudolph plays and wins and plays very well. There's a talk show host, journalist in Pittsburgh, Mark Madden, that reported that Pickett refused to be the quarterback. Pickett today has denied that 100%, and he's going to be the backup for the Steelers this weekend against Baltimore. So the question, though, I wonder too, if you're the Ravens and you clinched home field, why would you play Lamar Jackson at all? You already get a bye. I understand that, but why would you risk the injury? This would be a perfect time to opt out when it literally does not matter what happens in this game for them. And Pittsburgh, they have to win. They're going to come at whoever's the quarterback hard. And with that pass rush, who knows what could happen. If I'm the Ravens, look, I see they got a great defense, but I don't see them winning the AFC without Lamar Jackson at quarterback.
Well, most of these teams, they're not going to win if your starting quarterback goes down. He's a league MVP, Phil. I'd say if it was, Big Ben's rookie year, if you remember that when they had that good defense, and maybe then you would play him. Even though if you have a bye week, you still want him to get some reps and you still want him to play. The thing with him now is, that whole offense. You're not putting any game plan in for after you've already clinched. That's the beauty of it. It is you'll have Peyton Manning, who's a Hall of Fame quarterback that I played in his division for a couple years. There was a year they won it. They didn't play the last game of the regular season because there's no reason to. Like you said, you're looking at the Dolphins and what they're going through with the injury bug that's kind of hit them. You don't want that to start. Same thing with we brought that up earlier with San Francisco and their quarterback situation. I don't even know who the backup is at Baltimore, but I'll tell you this. Lamar Jackson – I think what Tyreek Hill did this year, unbelievable. I know he kind of got a little banged up. I don't know if his numbers, if they'll give him the MVP. But if you're giving it to a quarterback this year, Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, is the league MVP.
Tyler Huntley is the backup.
Yeah, they're not winning a playoff game. I mean, they're not winning the Super Bowl with Tyler Huntley as their quarterback. No hatred on him. He's the backup in an NFL team, but he's not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and as this week goes on, the biggest question for college football for the national championship game Monday night, I think, is whether or not Dylan Johnson is able to go. Remember Michigan last year? Corum was out because of an injury for the Ohio State game and for I forget how many games he missed. But the backup was almost as good. That's different with Washington. It's not the same deal. Without Dylan Johnson, I don't know how much of a running game. I don't know how much of a running game the Huskies have.
Dylan Johnson's a lot like your kid from Missouri. He's a one-cut downhill runner, physical guy. He's getting positive yards. I thought it was interesting that if you go back and because I watched both these games start to finish, you see the two teams, Michigan and Alabama, the two more physical, violent teams, you would say, playing on that grass. Hardly anybody injured. Hardly anybody. Then you see Washington and Texas. There was a handful of guys that were coming up or limping up and were messing up. That field turf is a different kind of monster.
The national championship game right now on Bet Saracen. That thing wants me to download a brand new app. So I was going to pull this up and it won't even let me look at it. I thought I saw on ESPN it was 4 points or 4.5 points when I looked earlier this morning. Just looking on Bet Saracen's website because it works on your Apple iPhone. It works on any Google Android and all the web browsers at betsaracen.com. College football playoff, click on that. Yeah, Michigan favored 4.5, minus 175 on the money line. I think if Johnson's not available, and even if he is, I mean, he's playing hurt to begin with. At this point, I would look at Michigan potentially as a 5.5 point favorite, maybe even 6. That's I think Wisconsin. One thing that really did impress me about Washington is that they were able to blunt the Texas pass rush, and that's tough to do because that's a group that could get after you. So I see a team that I don't know how. Usually you would say a team is physical because of how they run the ball. But what Washington just really specializes at is giving Penix enough time to throw and giving him a clean pocket, and I mean that to me shows sometimes just as much physicality as running the football. But Michigan can beat you in the two ways. I mean, I think Penix is a better quarterback than than McCarthy is, but Michigan's got a running game that, even though I like Johnson, I like the Washington offensive line, that Michigan running game. So you talked about it, Matt. They don't forget who they are. They don't forget what their identity is. And as good as McCarthy is, and I know he won the Rose Bowl offensive player of the game, it's all about that line. And it's all about their defensive line. They really do. They dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Yeah, if you don't put Penix on his back, he's going to eat you up. I thought Michigan's front seven was the best front seven I'd seen. I thought Florida State's front seven this year was up there. I really did. That defense, Florida State. Now I know you're looking at Georgia, and Georgia has a front seven as well, but Florida State didn't show up for that game. But Michigan's front seven, that will be the key. And can Washington stop the run? I thought Texas, they were able to run the ball. They kind of did what they wanted. I thought Texas left some points out there. They missed some shots and missed some plays. And Corum, are you going to tackle him? They will. Michigan, we know this, and this is what I thought Alabama would do. Michigan will run the ball 17 straight times. They do not care how pretty it is. They will throw simple balls in the flats. I mean, their best play was a run play and then hitting their running back in the flats for chunk plays. And those are simple plays that you put in week one of camp. And that's what they were able to do. And it just seemed like Alabama got the lead, and then all of a sudden they just started outthinking the room instead of getting back to, well, how'd you just get that lead? Oh, you're running the ball really, really well. Now let's go back to playing it backward. They weren't playing downhill as much, and that was the case. And so that'd be the matchup. But Washington can make you do that. If they control the ball and go on those drives and have time of possessions, they kind of make you speed things up. But I don't think Michigan right now, I think that's a team that knows I think both these teams know exactly who they are. Michigan, I think, is the more physical team. If you were to get me to say which team I thought was more physical, but didn't Washington win the nation's top offensive line as a unit? So that's going to be tough right there.
Well, and the other thing too, it's like, Michigan's been involved in two really close games back to back, but now you're facing a Washington team, and going back and looking at their schedule here, Matt, the Huskies haven't been involved in a game that finished in a 2-score differential since November 4th when they beat USC by 10. And most of their wins, really, most of their wins have come by one score. They're 13-0, right? But 14-0. But I count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins out of 14 by one score. And the last two have been the last three have been by 6 or fewer. It's a team that's used to playing in tight ball games, very close ball games. And I guess I was a little bit surprised. It's not like it was a huge comeback, but Alabama by 7 with less than 5 minutes to go, that's done.
Running the ball.
That's it.
I'm running the ball. We're running the ball. We're making it easy on our quarterback. We're not dropping him back and throwing to the sidelines and stopping the clock. I was just as surprised as anyone.
We'll get Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio's thoughts on the playoff games and the national championship coming up. And, of course, I mentioned the betting odds. Have your Bet Saracen app on your phone. They'll have all great prop bets this week for the national championship game. NFL playoffs start next weekend. So, this is the time of the year. Bowl season into NFL playoffs, right into college baseball, right into March Madness. It's one right after the other throughout the start of the new year. Bet Saracen works on your Apple iPhone, Google Android, any web browser, betsaracen.com. Got to be inside the state of Arkansas to use Bet Saracen. We'll talk with Bill King in just a moment on Halftime.
Five seconds to go. Madden, right side. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Qualls with the dunk at the buzzer. It goes and Arkansas wins. It goes and Arkansas wins. Qualls with a two-hand finish. Arkansas wins the ball game.
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
This is Northside head football coach Felix Curry. I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
Hi, this is Ricky Smith, head basketball coach for the Northside Lady Bears. I dial 782-8940. That's 782-8940.
What a great time of the year. It's also a great time to take advantage of York Factory rebates on high-efficiency HVAC products. Give us a call at 782-8940.
That's 782-8940.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
There's big news in the mobile sports betting business. Bet Saracen was just named the 15th largest sports book in America. That's because Arkansans like to do business with a winner. Find all your winners on Bet Saracen. Download it today and look for my RR prop bet specials. I pick them, you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
The Hangout, Fort Smith's newest fitness center. Over 8,000 square feet of 24-hour fitness. Indoor pickleball, tennis, and racquetball. Looking for help with your fitness needs? The Hangout has group and individual fitness training, with more options coming soon. The Hangout, 5400 Gary Street, or thehangoutfs.com. Pickleball leagues forming now. Be a part of something different, something better that Fort Smith has needed. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Hi, this is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. That small roofing company my father started 45 years ago has now become one of the largest roofing companies in America by following one rule, the golden rule. No one can install a better roof at a better price, a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Call today or visit us online at shamrockroofer.com.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Sunday morning. You can smell it. Game day. And the brisket you've been smoking since last night. A day to be with family, aka fellow football fans. Traditions make Sundays easy to enjoy. Beers do too. Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Ruskin and Zach live at the Rogers Convention Center Friday, January 5th for the Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo. They'll be showcasing the best in boating and outdoor adventures. Check out a vast array of boats from cruisers, pontoons, power boats, and more. Ruskin and Zach, Friday, January 5th at the Northwest Arkansas Boat and Outdoor Expo. Rogers Convention Center, where your next adventure begins. Don't miss it.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, service number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. No good anymore since you went away.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Get a little farther into yesterday's playoff games and the upcoming national championship game with the king of college football talk, Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, morning host 6 to 9. And, Bill, Happy New Year. How you feeling after staying up late last night? Those were invigorating games to watch.
Oh, I feel great, man. If you're going to lose sleep, that's the way to do it.
No kidding. No kidding. Who's losing more sleep after yesterday, though? Is it the losing fans of Alabama and Texas? Which of these two teams do you feel might have had a better shot if they were able to find a way to move on?
Alabama fans are spoiled for obvious reasons. I don't know, maybe because at the 4-minute mark, you've got a touchdown lead, and you feel like this is Alabama. Historically, there's no better team than Alabama on average. They're going to finish this thing out and go on to the championship. Maybe, and I know Bama fans a little bit better than I know Texas fans.
Was there anything yesterday that surprised you? You know, I mean, some people say they're surprised to see that Washington can withstand the physicality that you saw yesterday, but they did the same thing against Oregon. I wonder if there was anything that surprised you about what you saw from either of the two playoff games yesterday.
I didn't think that Michigan athletically would be equal to Alabama. And Alabama's down in athletes offensively. But I still thought that Alabama athletically would have a bigger advantage. And I know most of the first half, I was probably a little surprised, even though Michigan is certainly built on physicality, that they were winning both sides of the line of scrimmage at that time. I think that one caught me a little off. I picked Alabama. I thought Alabama would win that game. So that probably was what surprised me. What didn't surprise me is I think I had both those games pegged stylistically. I thought that Alabama would win 24-21, so the total was about right. And I thought that Texas game, UW game, would be in the 30s. Stylistically, those games were exactly what I thought, but the outcome in the Alabama game was not.
Yeah, there's no excuses, Bill, for Alabama. I was surprised that they had 5-6 the quarterback center exchange this late in the year. That can't be an issue where that's
right.
costing you plays. And then I thought it was a welcome to the world for people that maybe not have seen Michael Penix Jr. and that group of receivers and that running back and just the talent they had out there. And I don't know, Bill, the last, if you just look back the last 3, 4, 5 years that I've seen a quarterback take over a football game like Michael did last night. As far as a game in the playoffs.
Yeah. Out of Tampa, guys, he was committed to Tennessee. Tennessee got rid of Butch Jones, who had him committed. Jeremy Pruitt's crew comes in, and they tell Penix they don't think he can play for him. But, yeah, he's a heck of a player. He's had 2 bad injuries. He's recovered from that. He transferred from IU, followed Coach DeBoer out there, and it's been a wonderful situation.
Kalen DeBoer versus Jim Harbaugh in the national championship game. Do you give an edge to either of these teams because of who's coaching them?
I'd probably give an edge to UW with the athletes, but the only thing, Harbaugh's got more enemies than anybody and doesn't care, obviously, about who doesn't like him. But considering that the haters all made it sound like the only reason they had success was because of stealing signs and signals and cheating, which I never bought into that ferociously, like the critics out there, I could see him out the door winning it, heading to the NFL with a giant bleep you to everybody. I really could.
Nobody's given Washington much a chance, and you just talked about how physical Michigan is and was against Alabama, and I thought, but Florida State, I thought they had a really good front seven. I thought Michigan, probably the best front seven this year in college football. Is if Washington's running back can't go, how do you kind of see this one going, Washington and Michigan?
This will be the best group of receivers they've seen. Ohio State hadn't been full health for a while. Now Marvin Harrison Jr., when he was playing before he opted out. But the depth at Ohio State's never been right with all the injuries and the issues they've had. This will be the best quarterback, receiver, running back combination that they've seen. And it's going to take more points than it took in the Alabama game. And Michigan's favored. Now, guys, I looked this morning. I haven't looked today if that line's moved around, but it was around 4.5. I think athletically Washington can do some damage here.
I think it's still at 4.5. We just looked in the last commercial break, still at 4.5. But I wonder about. Do you think that changes if I wonder about if Dylan Johnson is available, or even if he's anywhere close to 100%. That's why I look at Washington without him, or even with him, and they might be not a one-trick pony, but man, I mean they're a little more balanced. But without Johnson, or even not at 100%, I wonder how balanced they can be. And man, I know Washington is so good at protecting the quarterback. But when and Alabama had some troubles all throughout the season. So, I mean, that to me is really key. If they can keep Penix upright, because Michigan's coming after him.
Michigan is a very tough guy, led by from the top, Coach Harbaugh team. A very tough guy team. And they'll fight you in an alley. They'll fight you on the streets, parking lot, wherever you want to fight. It's a tough guy team. And something's got to give in this game. The storyline, guys, not that that's necessarily the dictator of an outcome, but the storyline favors Michigan.
I know what you're saying with the athletes Washington has and that front seven, and Washington should be able to hang with them. I do want to get your thoughts on KJ Jefferson, Arkansas's quarterback the last few years, record-setting guy, is going down to Orlando to play with Gus. And I looked at what their quarterbacks had last year, and I want to say it's around – they had two guys going around 3,200 yards, and, 600 yards rushing is kind of what their quarterback is. And I think KJ could put up real similar numbers to that.
Yeah, John Rice Plumlee, former Ole Miss football and baseball player, down there quarterbacking and very good athlete. I remember John Rice Plumlee as a true freshman playing that 19 LSU team. That was so good, and he ran for like 250. He looked like you out there. He ran for 250 yards in that ball game, and of course never got the quarterback job full time. But yes, I think that's a good fit. I think going down there with Gus, good friend of mine, Herb Hand, is the offensive line coach down there. I know they're excited about it. I think that might well work. I do.
Nico Iamaleava had a really nice debut. He looks. I mean, it's one game, so you can't necessarily just go off of that, but that's definitely going to boost Tennessee fans' ego going into this next season, because he looked like the real deal.
He has everything that you could draw up to be a superstar. He's 6'6". He's got a gorgeous arm. He's athletic for a guy that long, like Matt Jones, can flat out run. He's twitchy, too, for a guy that long. And he looked like he was in command. The only thing he needs to learn is he had to eat the ball too many times. And that'll come, Matt will tell you, with reps. He ate the ball too many times. He didn't get rid of the ball. But he didn't fumble either doing that. That's the good part. And once that comes, God knows how good they can be with him. They've got the running backs. They might well lead for Evan Stewart. That could be interesting.
Bill, watching a little bit some of the other bowl games, if I said, hey, man, you get stock for next year and you can take – and I'm not going to give you Alabama or Georgia's or even Texas coming to SEC, but you probably know where I'm going with this. You get stock in next year. You can only take one of these teams, and that's Ole Miss or Missouri. Who are you taking?
Ole Miss. This is the best Ole Miss team coming back in my memory, in my lifetime. I don't remember a more complete situation now that Dart has confirmed he's coming back, which figured he would. They've got a fantastic running back in Junkins. They're adding the three best defensive linemen on three teams throughout the South. And
they got our best linebacker.
Your linebacker, yes, at Arkansas, and their high school defensive line recruiting is the best that state's been, and I don't know when. 3 just immediate impact guys you can rotate at least. I don't know what. I think they're still trying to find out if there's an offensive lineman or 2 in the portal. If there's an area where maybe they could use some shoring up, that might be it. This is the best Ole Miss team I can recall on paper.
Good enough to give Georgia a run for them. And that's the thing they couldn't do. I mean, they were great this year. They couldn't beat the 2 best in the league. Is this the year maybe? I mean, who knows what these teams look like at some point. But, you're talking in ways that nobody has talked about Ole Miss ever.
Ever. And we weren't around for Johnny Vaught. That'd be the last time. But make it a fair fight. Could they hold up to Georgia in the trenches for 60 minutes? That's tough, right? And Georgia's always going to be at the very top in the trenches. And Georgia's getting some good players in the portal at wide receiver. They get a super running back in the ATN kid who they're going to plug in. That's an upgrade at running back for them. And they've got a potential high pick coming back at quarterback. You would still favor Georgia, but would that be a more fair fight? I think so.
Last thing, are there too many bowl games? Somebody earlier here had said, give them a nice ribbon, a little parting gift, just for having a nice season. I still think there's a place for bowl games that just fly under the radar for people when MAC plays the Sun Belt or Conference USA plays against the American Conference. I just wonder about the meaning of the bowls for Power 5 teams that don't make it to the playoff, because the group of 5 schools, I think these games mean a little bit more.
I have never been part of there are too many bowl games crowd. Now, do I watch every game with the emotion and the interest that I do the regular season? No. But I don't really care. If they tomorrow announce new rule, teams can play 2 bowl games. I mean, I wouldn't care. Play 2. It just doesn't matter to me. If I'm watching one of these games and I'm losing interest, well, so be it. I'll find another game. But I don't. As long as ESPN can sell confiscatory ad rates, there's going to be more games. It's simple math.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, Matt, have you seen some of these ideas move the bowl games to the spring? You're like, no, they're not doing that. Nobody's playing bowl games in the spring.
No.
It's just we got to look at them like kind of what Bill's saying. You look at them totally different, and it is a way for people to kind of it almost is like your first spring game as far as an exhibition game, but you're getting to see some of the younger kids, and it's a chance for them to come up and earn that starting job.
Guys, Georgia's score was, 42-3 at halftime? Carson Beck didn't even come back out to play. Gunnar Stockton did. I love watching him.
Right.
So we'll leave it there. Happy New Year.
Okay,
Always
guys.
appreciate you coming
guys.
on with us on these Tuesdays.
Thanks, guys.
Happy New Year. Thanks, Bill.
Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, with us each Tuesday on Halftime. So we hit the home stretch here. Open that McClarty Daniel hotline for you. 877-377-6963. Tyler says you give the edge to the team that cheats the most. I don't know how much cheating you can do right now. And I do wonder if Michigan had scouted Washington anyway back when Connor Stallions was still on the staff. All right, halftime back. Very quick break coming your way here.
It is a dream, and here you are. It's moving day. But wait, isn't moving supposed to be stressful? Oh, that's right. You bought your home using Weichert Realtors. Your Weichert agent guided you from start to finish to help make sure we found you your perfect place. Dream, move, home, Weichert. Call your local Weichert Realtors office today and make your move. And look for our bright yellow signs. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
At Red River Dodge, not only do we have new vehicles, but we also have top quality pre-owned, all the way from your big rig trucks to your luxury class SUVs. Are you needing to trade in a used vehicle? That's no problem. Here at Red River Dodge, we give top dollar for your trade-in. Whatever it is you're needing, here at Red River Dodge, we have it. Give us a call today at 501-362-5831 or visit us on the web at redriverdodge.com. And don't forget, folks, we deliver.
This is halftime.
Picture this, a cold winter's night and suddenly no heat. That's exactly what happened to us. But when we called Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric, they were right there. Their pros didn't just fix our heating. They brought back our home's warmth and comfort in no time. Even when our water heater started leaking, Pascal was the first name we thought of. Quick, professional, and so understanding. With Pascal's flexible payment options, we didn't have to worry about a big expense all at once. Now our home is comfortable and so is our budget. Schedule now at gopascal.com.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Hi, this is Melissa, owner of True Grit Running Company. Now that the weather has cooled down, it is the perfect time to get a jump start on those New Year's resolutions. We'll help you start your running journey off right with shoes handpicked just for you based on how you run. Follow us on Facebook to learn more about our group runs for people of all paces, where we can give you advice and support on your running journey. Let us help you find your True Grit fit at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized dealer in the River Valley. You might know us as your source for large Xerox multifunction or production printers. But for many of you, your needs have changed. Smaller equipment has become more necessary, and we are here to help. We carry the Xerox desktop models, but also brother workhorse printers and multifunctions with 3-year replacement warranties included. So give us a call at 479-783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing document solutions to the River Valley.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leaf-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Here's to you and yours from the friendly folks at In Good Spirits, your upscale liquor store in Fort Smith. At In Good Spirits, they've got what your taste buds are craving, including flavorful wines from around the world, scrumptious brandies and liqueurs, tempting whiskeys and beers, and fine cigars. Treat yourself to the best as you listen to the game. Check out In Good Spirits, 12100 Highway 71 South, across from Riley Farms in Fort Smith. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Hey, Surrey!
Problem is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy if you take it logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. She said it's really not my habit to intrude. Furthermore, I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued. But I'll repeat myself. At the risk of being crude, there must be 50 ways to leave your lover.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
I tell you what, I mean, every third text on the McClarty Daniel hotline today is asking where is our usual caller not resident because we don't give him a key, but our resident Longhorns fan, who remember when Brian called the Monday after the playoff was announced, the 4 teams were announced, and he literally cackled into the mouthpiece, laughing, and his celebration, but nothing. All kind of quiet today.
You know, I thought Quinn Ewers got outplayed, honestly, and then number 23, that running back from Texas, he left 2 touchdowns out there. I mean, the fumble he had, he was starting to carve him up in the second half and just putting the ball on the ground. And then Ewers he hit him for a touchdown. He dropped the ball. A little running back, that 23, man, he's electric. He was one of the most electric backs. He's going to be tough. Because we'll face him next year, won't we? When we play the University of Texas, yep. And you're going to get Brooks back, but he was being a good change of pace back. But man, getting him the ball in space and watching him go, that's a guy that a warp zone guy. If you could get him, that's like go in there and offer him, give him some money because he's worth it. You seen the program with Omar Epps' character. When he has to carry the football to the classroom, because he has going through fumbleitis during practice. I'd make him carry a football everywhere he goes in the off season. Let him know how precious that baby is.
And then make sure everybody's swatting at it when he walks right by them. Did you ever have to carry a football through classes? It was pretty funny. No, we didn't do that. I don't know if they could trust us. If they had gave us footballs in classes, we'd have been throwing them all over the it'd have been we'd have been causing havoc. So I don't know if we were ready. On days that I would pitch in high school, and I was a pitcher just for my junior year, I would. You were so proud of being a varsity athlete. So you'd wear your jersey top at school.
Absolutely,
on Friday,
we did
right?
that. We did the football jerseys at school. Yeah,
and then I would carry around a baseball on the Friday, all day long. If I was pitching, because what I was trying to do was trying to lengthen my fingers during the day by sticking that baseball right in there in the split fingered grip, and see if I could maybe get an extra half a millimeter or something, hoping I wasn't going to bite my fingernails that day.
Never clip your fingernails. You got about 3 days before game day. You don't clip the fingernails anymore because you don't want them to get too short. You want a little bit, just a little bit on the football to spin it or the basketball, whatever. That was a superstition I had. You couldn't clip your fingernails game day.
I don't even think that's a superstition. That's science.
That
real
is
physics.
science. That's right. That's right.
The longer the fingernails are, the longer the fingers are.
There's a sweet spot, but there's a sweet spot that you get because you don't want to break off. There's a sweet spot you get.
Well, you don't want to puncture the football with your talons, right? There is a certain sweet spot to hit.
Unless you're Tom Brady, it's just the way. What's the air in that? There we go, and we're back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Josh in Hot Springs texts in asking if Georgia could have beaten Michigan. Oh, sure, I think so.
Georgia's the third best team in the country this year. I think that's how it goes, and there's a toss-up, but I think they'll finish number 3.
But they'd need their playmakers. They would have needed Brock Bowers to be healthy. They would have needed Lad McConkey to be healthy. I don't think without the two of them they would have had the playmakers necessary, right? And that's also part of this. Would Georgia have beaten Alabama if those two guys were at 100%? Maybe so, but I'm not sure. It's not a matter of how good you are on paper. It's how good are your players who are available to you on that day. And Georgia didn't necessarily have the guys at 100% that they needed on that day to not get dropped from 1 to 6 in the playoff poll. Robert in Fort Smith has called our McClarty Daniel hotline. Hey, Robert, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. I heard your comment, Phil, about my Dodgers, 162, but you are correct.
You know how it works.
Playoffs. We don't do, we're terrible. But anyway, do you guys feel that the transfer portal is going to change with these new playoffs and the way that's done? Because what are we looking at now? About the 14th through the 16th for the championship game, and the portal ends on the 4th? I mean,
Yeah, you make a good point, Robert. Part of what the thing is with the warp zone is they time it so that it coincides with the start of classes for a new semester. And as much as we might not believe it now, these football teams are still tied to universities where classes and semesters are a thing, and they're supposed to be a part of that. So I agree with you, though. What are you going to do in this point? You can't move the so-called football postseason back too much farther, but you do end up with these situations where the guys whose seasons are over, if they maybe wanted to get into that warp zone and look for somewhere else to go, well, they got one day to do it, Or the guys that are playing for a national title, like their chance is up now until spring ball. So, yeah, I mean, I don't ever think you'll find a calendar for college football that works 100%. I don't. It's the same with early signing period versus regular signing period. There's a reason why it's in December, so that if you get kids to sign and then get into school the very next month and pass up that last semester of high school. So I just don't think there's ever a calendar that's going to fit 100%.
Well, have a good one, and thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Robert. Thank you. 877-377-6963. Our McClarty Daniel hotline. Well, maybe the Dodgers will lose a few games in the regular season because Ohtani can't pitch this next year, and I think they still have some other pitchers that aren't healthy yet. Dustin may be one. Who knows if they're going to re-sign Kershaw? He's going to be out for the first half of the season. So yeah, maybe they'll lose a few games here and there, and then they'll lose 3 in a divisional series because it would be the Dodgers being Dodgers. Just like there used to be a Clemsoning, there's a Dodgering, and that's not necessarily reaching your potential during October. Yeah, Georgia could have beaten Michigan, Josh. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Georgia could have won a national title. But right now, I see Michigan as the national champion or the eventual national champion. Matt, I think they're too good on both sides of the ball. They're too healthy on both sides of the ball. I think that their defensive line is dominant. I think they'll get to Penix a couple of times, and you don't see that very much. I think that changes the game completely when a quarterback who's been sacked 9 times all year. I say he goes down twice on Monday.
If you don't make Penix uncomfortable, they're going to hang 28 on you. That's just what's going to. I mean, if you let Penix sit back there and do what he wants to do, and really don't make him uncomfortable and move. And he's such an athlete that, and I saw, and what you saw last night is even when they kind of got to him, man, he would make that kind of miss, just do a little shimmy. He started taking off a little bit, but man, he keeps his eyes downfield. He understands the playbook. He understands it's very important that when the play breaks down, and if your read's to the left and bang, bang, you got to kind of look over to the right and you're running to the right. You have to know where these guys are. And then also the receivers, they see what's going on and they're able to stop their routes and start going in that direction. I mean, they were on the same page. He was an absolute joy to watch. But, yeah, if you don't make him uncomfortable, it'll be a long night for Michigan.
All right, close things up in just a moment on halftime. We might have time for one more call and one more text. That McClarty Daniel hotline open, 877-377-6963. Also remember about Roller Funeral Homes. RollerFuneralHomes.com is the place where you can find all the information about life insurance policies, prepaid funerals, and cemetery markers. Roller Funeral Homes, with all their respect. Halftime to wrap things up in just a moment.
The nation's best home court advantage lives inside Bud Walton Arena. Now, while the students are away for winter break, we want you to fill in and bring the energy to the student section. You can relive the glory days and be a student at any of our 3 winter break games. The Hogs will host Abilene Christian on Thursday, December 21st, UNC Wilmington on Saturday, December 30th, and SEC foe Auburn on Saturday, January 6th. Only a limited number of tickets are available, so go ahead. Go to ArkansasRazorbacks.com to purchase Purchase your tickets today.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Z Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drains, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Got a pest? Call West. If you have pest or termite problems in your home, call West today and learn how their 50 years combined experience can help solve your problems with competitive pricing and quality services, all designed with your pets and children in mind. Call today and schedule your free estimate. They even offer Saturday services and long life attic pest control. Call 782-7291. West Termite and Pest Control, protecting your home health and peace of mind.
Shop Meadows Lumber True Value for great bargains of the month. Pick up an allergen defense furnace filter from Filtrete for just $9.99. Stay toasty with a portable heater from Soleil for only $19.99. Keep your feathered friends fed and happy with a 10-pound bag of black oil sunflower seed or 20-pound bag of wild bird food for just $7.99. Choose from Bounty's select A-size paper towels or Charmin's Mega Roll Ultra Strong Bath Tissue for $9.99. Grab a Stanley Fat Max 25-foot tape measure for just $15.99. Get these bargains of the month while supplies last. Meadows Lumber True Value.
Whether you're fishing for cold water bass on Beaver Lake or Table Rock, or fishing for a trophy brown trout on the mighty White River, the Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue will catch them. It has that famous rolling action whether it's fished extremely slow or worked fast in heavy current. This rogue suspends, so it will stay in the strike zone longer, allowing you to catch more fish. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Smithwick Original Suspending Rattling Rogue.
Are you great at picking NFL games?
Yes, sir!
Then enter ESPN Arkansas's Pro Football Pick'em Challenge on hitthatline.com.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
ESPN Arkansas's Pro Football Pick'em Challenge is presented by Heartland Hyundai.
And on behalf of the five-time world champion Dallas Cowboys!
Only on hitthatline.com. Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Check by a jumbo check. It wasn't easy, but nothing is. No.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend, Matt Jones.
All right, we get to wrap things up here in just a moment on halftime. We do have time to take a couple of calls, so let's get these in here before we send you to Ruskin and Zach for the rest of the day. Wes is here with us right now, Wes in Berryville. Wes, thanks for calling halftime. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, just a question of asking Matt, during that Houston Nutt period, you know, we had a lot of guys like Jason Peters and George Wilson and maybe Sasha Lancaster, who ended up being multiple position guys and who maybe even later on played in the NFL level at a different position. So during this NIL era, do you think it's more important now that we have to try to find players, may not be able to get the top players, find those guys that have the skills that could maybe play different positions? That's my question. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Yeah, to have, as Liam Nelson said, you have a specific skill set. To be a Division I SEC caliber athlete, it's very important that you can do multiple things. And I go back and you got to have them on campus at camps. You got to watch these kids play basketball, run track, play baseball. What other things do they do besides play football to get the right guy? Coach Nutt had an eye for talent, Phil. He could go out there and pick out the athletes.
Next up is Randall in Fayetteville. Randall, you get to be our last caller for today. How you doing?
Gentlemen, thank you guys very much for taking my call. I'm doing very well. Called in because I know that loudmouth of a Texas fan has been oddly quiet, so I figured Texas should call in and at least give some sort of opinion on what happened last night. But all I can say was an exciting game. It wasn't a blowout. Texas did have a lot of self-inflicting wounds with penalties. Offense really couldn't get things going until last half of the fourth quarter. But, if you take a look at what they've done, a lot of those players had a 5-7 season a few years back, knowing that they're now 11-2. Hey, they're in a good position to go into the SEC and have an outstanding team next year because, SEC is one of the greatest conferences in the country. So, yeah, we lost, but we have a 11-2, can't complain, and we're going into the SEC next year. So we're looking forward to playing you guys. Thank you for my call.
Yeah, you got it, Randall. Yeah, they're coming in ready to go. They're not like an outsider that's looking to just sort of cling on in the SEC. I feel like with Oklahoma, that might be a different story.
Missouri and A&M made the jump, and everybody thought A&M was kind of the hotness, and Missouri has more SEC titles than A&M does. They've actually played in the game and actually done some things. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Texas OU, how they adapt, how they adjust to the speed and the physicality week in, week out. But I agree with you, Phil. I think both those teams are primed and ready. I think there's a lot of talent on and I think when they come in, you look at Arkansas being a top 10 in the SEC. What were there, 14 teams? Now there's 16 teams. Is Arkansas in that top 10? I don't know. I think we're looking outside the top 10.
Yeah, I would think so. Who would you put Arkansas ahead of?
That's
Vanderbilt.
That's the question,
That's
right?
the only one that I feel really confident that you put probably ahead of Mississippi State.
Until they just whooped the fire out of us last year.
Yeah.
It's like I want to. We're supposed to be better than Ole Miss as well. You're supposed to be better than Missouri, a team up there that I think's equal, and South Carolina's another team you should be better. You start looking down the list, and you can't really say we're better than any of those teams.
The fact that Ole Miss has loaded up out of the warp zone as well as they have, like that's the thing that doesn't necessarily make the most sense, right? It's not a school or a program that is littered with great success. I don't think they've won an SEC championship since the 1960s. But they have, they're on fire right now. They got another 11 wins, most that they've ever had. Recruiting on fire, raising Kiffin again, and they're definitely rising. I think in a way that no other SEC school is.
Yeah, Arkansas beat a Penn State team in a Florida Bowl not too long ago to get to their 9th win though, and then they haven't been to. That's their last good win if you look at it. So yeah, and it's the hype train too, Phil. They're going to have to deal with it all off season, all spring, all summer. Oh, the dark horse pick, Ole Miss. We're picking y'all. So we'll see how they handle it.
That's 7 months of hype. That's a lot of hype, and add one more day because it's leap year, and I'm sure that one day will make all the difference. Great to be back with you guys. It's a very happy new year. And I guess we can say the TP words tomorrow. So $52 going to CU and its musical education. Thanks to those who said the magical words. And really, the most important thing is teaching you things. which next up is the Tarantino filmography. Stay tuned for Ruskin and Zach. We're with you tomorrow. For Matt, for C Unit, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.